So why has the athlete Caster Semenya been told to tone down her natural testosterone levels, the keyword is natural, in order for her to continue to compete in a sport that she loves and dominates?
With athletics governing body, the IAAF, deciding her genetic makeup gives her an unfair advantage over her competitors.
Hey guys, it's Maradi. Hope you guys are doing well today on this evening, and please do subscribe to my channel. Click that button, subscribe, and definitely follow me on my Instagram, Maradi as well. I would massively appreciate it. Now, I wanted to do a very mini, small documentary, not really documentary, but more so of a report, let's just say, on this particular current topic that is sweeping the online world right now, and everybody is very shocked, upset, distraught, but at the same time not surprised as much about the recent news where particular athlete Caster Semenya.
When you're born, you're born. There's nothing anyone can do. There's no, scientific, test or anything that can define a human.
Caster Semenya has won her last 29 races at 800 meters. The outcome of her next one, if she decides to run again, might be very different.
If I'm pronouncing the name right, apologies if I'm not, has been told that she has to, by the IAAF, that she must tone down her natural testosterone levels in order for her to continue to compete in runs. The global athletics governing body ruled against Caster Semenya's appeal to compete without lowering her naturally high testosterone levels, deciding that such discrimination is necessary. The International Association of Athletics Federation's Court of Arbitration dismissed the 28-year-old South African sprinter's appeal in a judgment that is sure to affect athletes with differences of sex development and trans athletes for years to come. On the basis of the evidence submitted by the parties, such discrimination is necessary. Reasonable and proportionate means of achieving the IAAF's aims of preserving the integrity of female athletics in the restricted events. The three-judge panel ruled in a 2-1 decision. Hounded by racist, misogynistic concerns over her gender and her right to compete against other female athletes since she was a teenager, Semenyas said that she's already thinking about appealing. I know that the IAAF's regulations have always targeted me specifically. Semenyas said in a statement to the AP, "For a decade, the IAAF have tried to slow me down, but this has actually made me far stronger. The decision of the CAS will not hold me back. I will once again rise above and continue to inspire young women and athletes in South Africa and around the world." Semenya is scheduled to compete in the 800-meter event at the first Diamond League track meet of the season in Doha on Friday, the last such event before the IAAF begins implementing its new policy next week for her. She has condemned a sports official defense of an international mandate requiring women with naturally high testosterone levels to medically alter their hormone levels, and the idea that she poses as a threat to women's sport. Semenya is a 28-year-old middle distance runner, for those who don't know, from South Africa, who won gold at the 2012 and 2016 Olympic Games. She won gold at 2012 and 2016 Olympic Games. Recently appealed a 2018 change in the IAAF's policy that forces female athletes identified as having differences in sexual development, like Semenya, to medically suppress their blood testosterone levels before competing in certain sports. The reason we have gender classification is because if you didn't, then no woman would ever win another title or another medal or break another record in our sport. Semenya, who has enjoyed speculation and debate of her place in women's sport for a full decade now, responded with a statement. She was born a woman, raised a woman, socialized as a woman, and has competed as a woman her entire life. She does not wish to undergo medical intervention to change who she was and how she was born. She wants to compete naturally. So this is how she obviously feels, and a lot of people are also obviously very upset, irritated by this particular decision that has happened that really has surprised a lot of individuals, because although this person has been under so much suppression for their entire athletic career, for the last 10 to 15 years, there wasn't anybody who clamped down and actually forcibly implemented situations where you have to change how you naturally are. And we have to obviously ask the question where would this be happening if this individual was not a black woman? Because really and truly, this has been going on for a very long time. And sports racism is also another pathway of racism that affects many people of color, including black people especially as well. So, don't think it doesn't happen in sports, because it obviously does. We see it in black men footballers 24/7, or, people of color footballers who are black as well, who also are subjugated to forms of racism. It happens a lot, mainly to black people, especially to black men and also black women as well. Black men in football and black women when it comes to athletic situations, and especially this particular one. Now, I want to read out a few tweets because a few of them quite struck a nerve and also were very interesting to read and did keep the mind going. Jason says, no one ever questions the womanhood of white European women with higher rates of testosterone who compete in events like hammer throwing or discus. It is always black women, and particularly track athletes, since black success in track has historically been a source of white envy. I mean, we can just even look at how Jesse Owens and the performance of other African-American track athletes at the 1930s Olympics was viewed as foiling the German eugenistic project, improving that white dominance in sporting equates with white genetic supremacy. Now, a lot of people, I understand, can see a perspective in this and say, oh, people are just blaming racism. It's not everyday racism. And at the end of the day, there are structural and power dynamics that support the fortitude of racism and allow it to grow and be stronger every single day, and allow institutions to continue to reflect it as a powerful source to govern dominance, to reinstate white racial equilibrium. And this can go throughout the media, this can go through sport racism, institutional, judiciary, educational, and so forth, and affecting a lot of individuals and people. So it can be very easy as somebody who is subjugated to a form of racism or a form of colorism or a form of hurt or pain, and obviously reflect an opinion even though it doesn't even affect you at all. So subconsciously, that thought process of I can talk about something and my opinion obviously holds some weight even though I'm not affected by it, is suddenly just that thought process of it's just gone. People don't realize that they're speaking of situations that don't really affect them. Therefore, who are you to speak of something? More importantly, why would you think your opinion is going to hold weight? Now, I understand a lot of people are looking at this and from that perspective, and I can already see that they are, because it's good to look at people from different perspectives and how people would view this. What people are failing to view is that we have a particular individual who has been suppressed, and most definitely the skin color and the gender that we have out here are definitely playing as reinforcers in terms of suppression, and it's obviously very disgustingly sad. What we're having here is we're having the white fragility being imposed to reinstate white racial equilibrium, and that's exactly what is going on, point blank, period. Raquel Willis says, black bodies, particular black women's bodies, continue to be demonized and restrained by white considerations of normality. What's happened to Caster Semenya is why we must fight against all gender-based oppression, because we're all at risk. This isn't also racist, this is also severely misogynistic. In terms of the LGBT community, nobody really is bringing it as a main topic of discussion. Like, this is something that's very important. You're literally telling somebody that how they naturally are is wrong. Is it just me, or is it easier to turn a blind eye against a black female's oppression, a black woman's oppression? I feel like that's exactly what's going on here. We've seen this countless amount of times, and it simply isn't fair, and a direct example of, obviously, sports racism. Marcus says, what a coming together of racism, colorism, misogyny, homophobia, enforcement of the gender binary and anti-intersex, and weaponization of white women tears. The Caster Semenya case is just wow. And that really puts it into a nutshell. So much emblematic issues all being mixed in together and thrown out, imposed upon an individual and person, and people from particular communities and people from in general, I feel like are not speaking up about this issue. Now, although I'm seeing on Twitter, what is the real reason as to why this particular person is being suppressed to the point where she is obviously being told to force her natural testosterone levels to be down? And the obvious reasons are race plays into a massive factor. Being subjugated to the point where people believe that obviously white superiorness when it comes to sports equates to white supremacy, prevents the breaking of white fragility and reinstates white racial equilibrium. And this was obviously given an example here in a historical route to support this particular situation. Obviously in 1936, Jesse Owens, how upset the Germans and so forth, and the eugenics of it all. The eugenics are very important. For those who don't know what that is, I strongly suggest you look that word up and find out the research. All of these have particular roots that support this particular narrative, this particular issue, this problematic situation that is unfortunately going on, and something that we all need to discuss and talk about. What we have here is a blind, blatant form of racism, homophobia, misogyny. I can go on and on and on. So, well guys, thank you guys for watching my small little report on this particular issue. Do comment down below, I'd massively appreciate it. And let me know what you guys think about this entire issue. Follow me on my Instagram at Murad_Murali and subscribe for consistent daily content. I would massively appreciate it. Do comment down below because this is obviously an important issue that is really taking the online world by storm. But I do feel like we can still talk about more online, and it really hasn't reached peak forms of wide verbiage, which it needs to.